Good afternoon once again. Welcome, and I want us to have a discussion from the chapter 2 of social study, primary social study, the grade 8 work. Remember, we are doing what we call preparing learners, and since we know very well that we must prepare in advance, and that's why I want us to have this kind of a discussion on what is happening in the second topic of grade 8. And with me here, I have some resources that I want us to share together. And I want us to have this discussion of people and the population as the chapter 2 of grade 8 social studies. And this topic, we can marry it, also we can integrate it to Form 1 work, because we have also the origin of man in once we are in Form 1. So allow me to explain what you call the theories that explains the origin of humankind. And these theories, there are three in history. There are three in history. One, we have what you call the mythical theory, and this theory it is explained from different communities in Kenya. We have theory of creation that we have it in holy books, and lastly we have what you call the theory of evolution. This one explains on how human beings were evolved in different stages. Now, to start with, let us have a discussion of a mythical theory. And I say that mythical theory, these are stories that are being told, the beliefs of communities in Kenya where their forefathers evolved from. If I can start with the Luo, you can see the Luos, they tell a story of Ramogi, that Ramogi was their forefather who lived on Ramogi Hills, where they believe, the Luo people, that they descended from Ramogi as their ancestor. So we have the Luo people who believe that they descended from Ramogi, who lived on Ramogi Hills. We have the Giriama people along the Kenyan coast. The Wagiriama also believe that their forefather lived at a place known as Muyeye. Muyeye is found in Malindi. So the Wagiriama believe, or the Mijikenda men believe, that their descendants or their forefather who lived at a place known as Muyeye. So from Muyeye, the members spread to other parts of the coastal region, acquiring different sub-tribes names. So the Wagiriama believe that they came from Malindi. Malindi was their source where they came from. We have the Kalenjin men or community. The community from the Kalenjin also, they tell a story of their first Orikoyot, or the medicine man, called Amiot, from whom they descended. So the Kalenjin people, they also believe that they came from the first Orikoyot, or the medicine man, the man who was called Miot. We have the Agikuyu, who believe that their descendants were Gikuyu and Mumbi, where they descended from. And Gikuyu and Mumbi lived at a place known as Mukure or Nyagathanga. So the Gikuyu believe that their forefather, their parents, their first parents, Gikuyu and Mumbi, lived at a place known as Mukure wa Nyagathanga. Then we go to Akamba. Akamba also believe that their forefather or their foreparents lived on Zaui Hills, where God had given them a home. Akamba believed that their forefather or their parents lived on Zaui Hills, where God had given them a home. Then we go to what we call the Maasai people. The Maasai also talk about Olemwenje. Olemwenje, this was their forefather. They believe that this forefather landed on Ngong Hills. And this person came from heaven. He came with a lot of blessings because he came with what he called cattle. So if you ask the Maasai community, I remember boys and girls watching and listening to my clips. We cover pastoralism in grade 7. We have the Fulani of West Africa, we have the Maasai of East Africa, and also we have the Botswana of Botswana. So we assume that, I always say that the main factor that promotes pastoral farming in Africa is poor climate that cannot support crop growing, and this poor climate makes the place not be able to produce what we call foods, and that's why pastoralism becomes as the main choice for these men and the women from the pastoral farming community. But now, under the mythical theory that explains the origin of the Maasai do tell a story of their forefather by the name Olemwenje. Olemwenje, it is believed that this man landed on Ngong Hills with the cattle from heaven. Then we go to another community, the Abaluya community. Also, they tell a story of Akuru and Muka as their first parents. The Aembo, of course, also, they believe that they descended from Mwenendega and his wife. Those are the Aembo members. Ameru, without revealing them, they also narrate a story of their origin from Mbwa, where they migrated from after being mistreated by the people whom they called Nguonturne. And of course, we have some sections of the Baganda, people who claim that they descended from their ancestor Kintu, who first lived on Mount Elgon. So, boys and girls, we say that the mythical theory, they explain the origin of the ancestors of the certain community. These are beliefs, these are stories. We cannot substantiate them. We cannot give the evidence, but it is a myth. It is a myth, something that is believed is a myth. Now, from there, allow me to explain what you call the creation theory. Also, this theory, it is well elaborated in holy books. We have the Christian concept from the Bible, and also we have the Muslim believers that we were created by God. So the creation theory, in simple terms, in fact, it is being explained in the holy books that we were all created by God. And now, allow me, I want to introduce something here. This is the most discussed what you call a theory known as evolutionary theory. Evolutionary theory, and I want us to have this discussion from this book of mine that explains evolutionary theory. Now we can say like this: the evolutionary theory, this is a study which was done by one of the archaeologists by the name Charles Darwin. And the Charles Darwin believed that man developed from simple creature to a more complex one. Since now, from a simple creature that we were walking using 4 legs, even the economic activity that we were doing, they were traditional. They were just simple. Things like hunting and gathering. The stories that are forgone at the moment in the 21st century. And also they say that these creatures also developed mentally, gradually. The man developed from the ape-like creature to what we are today. according to evolutionary theory. And we see that the theory was developed by a British scientist called Charles Darwin, of course. Charles Darwin explained his theory in a book that he wrote in 1859, and the title of this book was known as The Origin of Species. This book was printed in the year 1859 by Charles Darwin as a scientific and archaeologist, the one who came up with evolutionary theory. Then from there, the discussion in this book, The Origin of Species, this man came up with the findings. The findings came up with what he called the archaeological sites, that this man came across some remains of human beings known as fossils, where the findings or the argument of this man was based. I want us to have these common terms that are being discussed in this topic as we proceed. Number one, we have fossils. We say these are the remains of man and tools, e.g. we can have skull, bones, ancient tools, and buildings. The fossils, this one made the base of the study for Charles Darwin, that this man, when he was going around and he came across fossils, this is where the argument was. This is where the information, we say archaeological findings, that enabled him to write a book known as The Origin of Species, of course, in 1859. We have excavation. This is the act of digging out fossils. Remember, the remains of animals, the remains of plants, insects, we have bones, we have tools. Some of them were buried, were in the soil. So they had to be excavated, digging out. Archaeology, of course, we have called Charles Darwin archaeologist. Archaeologist, it is a scientist who study about fossils. And archaeology, it is the study and excavation of fossils. Of course, now, when we study what we call archaeology, it means that we are going to excavate some of the fossils. Paleontology, the study of fossils, a branch of knowledge that where we study what we call fossils, it is known as paleontology. Then we have archaeological sites or prehistorical sites. These are places where fossils were discovered. Places where fossils were discovered, and we are going to discuss some of them here, where they were found and they were excavated, so that we have this knowledge of evolution theory. Prehistorical sites. It is a period, prehistoric, it is a period in history where history was not recorded in writing before history was recorded. Prehistoric. That history was being told, it was not recorded anywhere. It was a theoretical kind of it, that it was done in an abstract manner. It was not recorded in any way. The museum, it is a building where ancient items of art, science, and culture are kept to show the public. If you want to acquire knowledge about the archaeological studies, we must go to a museum whereby we study the art on how they were doing the drawings that were existing at the past. We have hominid. The hominid, we say, these are human creature that lived in the past. Hominid, human creature that lived in the past, where human beings developed from. So we can say that in this evolutionary theory, boys and girls listening and watching this clip, we came from the hominid, the human-like creature that lived in the past, where human developed from. Homo. This is a title of the man-like creature, Homo. Of course, archaeologists, people who dig and study the fossils, like what Charles Darwin did. And the Picticus, of course, the ape-like creature. So, the early ancestors of man, were known as the Kcpe or the Ramapiticas. The Kcpe or the Ramapiticas, we say this was the earliest human-like creature was known as the Ramapiticas or the Kcpe. We say these remains of the Kcpe or the Ramapiticas were discovered by Lois Leakey at Fort Tenan near Kericho. So the earliest discovery which was done by Lois Leakey, and they were discovered at a place known as Fort Tenan near Kericho. From the Kcpe, it evolved. From Kcpe, it evolved to what we call Australopithecus or the Syngenthropus. So the Syngenthropus or Australopithecus, the remains were discovered in Twang in Botswana, hence was given the name the Southern Ape. And also, this creature was bipedal. So the remains were discovered in Twang in Botswana, hence it was given a title, the Southern Ape. Similar remains also discovered at Olduvai Gorge. We have Kopifora, we have Omo Valley, Peninge, and Chesowanja. Remember, Olduvai Gorge, it is found in Tanzania. Kopifora, the eastern side of Lake Turkana in Kenya. Omo Valley in Ethiopia, the southern part near Lake Turkana. Peninge in Tanzania, and Chesowanja, the south of Lake Turkana in Kenya. From the Australopithecus Syngenthropus, it evolved to what we call Homo habilis. Homo habilis, this was the first creature-like that took the title Homo, and the Homo habilis meant the tool maker, able man, or man with ability. The Homo habilis was also known as the Syngenthropus, boys say. So when the word Homo habilis is being mentioned, just to know one thing, my learner, we have the able man, we have the tool man, or the man with ability. Why do we say it is a man with ability? The Homo habilis developed what we call the thumb. The thumb was being used to hold things tightly, and that's why we say he was a able man. He was a man with ability, and also even to make tools. Remember, you cannot make tools without holding. So the Homo habilis had a hand, he had a thumb that was being used to hold things tightly. This man was slightly skillful since he was making simple tools like we have scrappers, we have the hammers, we have the hand axe, which were double-edged. His tools were called the beddle, or old-worn tools. So Homo habilis made tools known as pebble, or the old-worn tools. We say he developed a thumb. I think I already said this one. He developed a thumb that enabled him to do what? To grasp or to hold things tightly. Here, man lived in goods. He was the first creature in line of evolution to get the title Homo, and the remains were discovered at Olduvai Gorge in Tanzania and the Kopifora, of course, in Kenya. From Homo habilis, it evolved to what we call Homo erectus. We say Homo erectus or upright man. The upright man, this man had a greater vision of making tools. The tools that he made was somehow improved, not like for the Homo habilis. So Homo erectus, also known as upright man, this is a man who walked in an upright manner. And we say he did more discoveries. The Homo erectus did more discoveries or upright man. The discovery number one, we had what we call the use of fire. So Homo erectus discovered what we call the use of fire. They also organized what we call the hunting expedition. Was able to communicate, so also we can say they also discovered what we call speech. They practice what we call painting. Tools also are used. We have the scrappers, we have balls, arrows, and axes made from what? Bones. Why do we say bones and not what we call stones? Because during this evolutionary theory, we call it the Stone Age period, simply because tools were made from stones. And now you can see, if Homo habilis was a tool maker and he made tools from stones, now Homo erectus, they have advanced in terms of communication, now instead of speech, they have advanced now, they discovered what you call fire. And also we have to know the importance of fire during the Homo erectus. Fire was used since during the Homo habilis and what you call the Australopithecus Ingertropus, we have Ramapithecus and the Kcpe, they use it to consume what you call raw food. And now since they discovered the fire, they started consuming food that is roasted. Also they used the fire to warm themselves during the cold conditions. Also they used the fire to light during the night and also scaring away dangerous wild animals. You are being asked where the remains were found. We had what we call Olduvai Gorge in Tanzania. Oregesile, of course, is found in Kenya near Lake Magadi. The Kcpe for the east of Lake Turkana and the Kariandusi in Gilgil, Kenya. From erectors, human beings were evolved to what we call Homo sapiens. We can call Homo sapien all intelligent human beings. These members did what we call hunting and gathering. Of course, they did fishing, kept animals, grew crops, and also made tools from made clothes from animal skins. Now you can see, even intellectual wise, they are trying to grow. Now we have clothing coming in and Homo sapiens, now since it is an intelligent human being. The tools also made from Homo sapiens include, we have bone needle, we have what we call grinding stones, we have what we call harpoons, remember this is a fishing method, we have the saw blades and the arrowheads. From the Homo sapiens in the ancient man, evolved to what we call Homo sapiens sapiens, or the modern man. This is a man of today. Remember, and Homo sapiens, it is a man of today. And we can call him, he had ability to think in a more complete way. These Homo sapiens, they can predict the future. They can plan, they can identify all no good or the bad. So we can say Homo sapiens sapiens, they were the modern human beings, the present human being, the person who can plan. Remember, boys and girls, at the moment, we can plan for the future. We are in school at the moment, getting knowledge simply because we have planned, we have goals, we have set what we call objectives in our lives. So we are Homo sapiens sapiens. I think I'm clear up to that point. Yes. Then we have what we call the Stone Age period. We say this is a stage that is described in history where tools were made of stones. And the Stone Age period was categorized into three. We had the early Stone Age period, we had the middle Stone Age period, we have what we call the late Stone Age period. And boys and girls, in early Stone Age period, we can see that man lived in simple lives in the woods, hunted small animals, gathered some fruits, dug edible roots, made tools very simple from stones. An example, we have the scrappers, we have the hand axe, we have blades, we have the hammer stones, we have flaked stones. The creatures that existed during this period were, we had the Kcpe, we had the Australopithecus, Homo habilis, and Homo erectus. Then we say the tools that were made during the early Stone Age period were known as the pebbles or the old worn tools. Then we go to what we call the Middle Stone Age period, where man lived in a wooded what we call an environment. Man relied on hunting and gathering fruits. Tools were made during the Middle Stone Age period. We had the small knives, we had the spearheads, we have the chill cells and the scrappers. We said during this period, man invented the fire that was used to roast meat. And the protection, of course, I think I said this one. The creatures that in the Middle Stone Age period, we had Homo erectus and Homo sapiens. Then from there now we have the Late Stone Age period. Man lived in caves and rock shelters, survived through fishing and hunting. Man grew some crops and domesticated some animals, made better and advanced tools. We have the scrappers, grinding stones, we have the stone needles, large blade spears, we have the bone harpoons, we have the large flukes, arrows heads, and the stone hammers. And now we can see that the creatures that exist in the late Stone Age period were the Homo sapiens, we had the Homo sapiens sapiens, and the emergence of iron tools marked the end of the Stone Age period. That one, boys and girls, we must know that one, that the emergence of iron tools marked the end of the Stone Age period. Then we are going to discuss what we call prehistoric sites in Eastern Africa. Remember now, from the evolutionary theory, now we are under prehistoric sites. Learners must understand where the fossils were found, where this early man was found. Prehistoric sites, we say, we have the numerous archaeological sites or prehistoric sites in Eastern Africa, and this confirms that the theory of evolution that in Eastern Africa could be the cradle of man. And also we say that Africa is being referred as the cradle of man since this is where the fossils were found. If we can start with Kenya. In Kenya we say that we have prehistoric sites in Kenya. An example, we say we have Kcpe, we have in the eastern shores of Lake Turkana, we have Kcpe, the western shores of Lake Turkana, we have Elias Spring in the southern part of Kcpe, we have Lotagam, southern part of Lake Turkana, the Kanapoy of the south of Lake Turkana, the Jesowancha near Lake Baringo, Kariandusi in Gilgil, Njoro River, Cape, Hirax, Nakuru, born in Lamu, Rusinga, Fortuna, Kericho, or Egeseri in Lake Magadi. Uganda also we have prehistoric sites. We have Nsongezi, we have Ntunsi, Magosi, Ishango, the Bigo Bay, Mugenyi, Sango Bay, and Lolui, central Uganda. Sudan also we have Meroe, of course, the Angola, Naga, Nuri, Amara. I want to open a page that has the prehistoric sites in Eastern Africa. Boys and girls, prehistoric sites were not found in Central Africa. It is purely East Africa, and that's why we have this map here. So this one might mark the end of the discussion. You can see this map should be in the minds of learners where prehistoric sites were found. You can see like now in Kenya. We have said this is Kenyan map. We have what we call Lake Turkana. This is Lake Turkana. If I can zoom well, this is Lake Turkana. You can see Kcpe, the east of Lake Turkana. We have Kcpe, the west of Lake Turkana. We have Elias Spring, west of Lake Turkana. We have Kanaboy, west of Lake Turkana. We have the Lotagam, the south of Lake Turkana. And the Jesowancha in, of course, Baringo. You have seen Karundu near Gilgil. Born is found here. Oregesere is here. We have Fort Tenan in Kericho and Rusinga in Kisumu. This is Kenya. We must have this prehistoric in mind and where they are found. You go to Tanzania, we have Lolui, we have Peninch, we have Olvai Gorge, Kondoa, Isimila, Peninch, Olvai Gorge. Sometimes they are highly tested. The highly tested, where I advise my learners that it is good for them to understand how they are arranged. We have Peninch, we go to Olvai Gorge, Kondoa, Isimila, Kalomba, and Songa Mola Island in Indian Ocean. You go to Uganda, we have Magosi, we have Ishango, Bigo, Sango Bay, Songezi, Lolui. They all are found in Uganda. Let's go to Ethiopia. Axam, La Libera, Hara, Dile, Dawa, Omo Valley, and of course, without forgetting, in Sudan we have Amara, Dangola, Nuri, Meloe, and Naga. These are the prehistoric sites that we have in Eastern Africa. And it is my humble request to learners that please let us go into books and do this research, the prehistorical sites that we have in Eastern Africa and where they are found. This is a common question from the theories, from the mythical theory, creation theory, and what we call evolutionary theory. This is a common area where we expect questions, boys and girls, to be asked from. So it is my request that we go into books and do more research. Thank you for today. We are likely to have another lesson tomorrow or end time before the end of today, so that we keep watch our learners as they transit to grade 8 and as we prepare them for the next exam, God willing, this year by November. So my name was Mr. Malaki. I wish you well as we continue learning together. Invite a friend to invite a friend so that we can grow together and learn the social study, and we make learners to be good members in the future. Thank you very much, and may God bless you.